Several developing stories as we come on the air. The controversial body cam just released tonight. After days of protests, the officers who demanded a driver get out of his car, he appears to get out and put his hands up in the air, and then officers open fire. What authorities are now saying tonight. Also breaking tonight amid the exploding opioid crisis in this country, a first tonight. The former CEO of a major drug distribution company arrested, tonight criminally charged. The urgent manhunt underway tonight after that horrific terror attack, Americans among the dead, and now the new fear tonight, were more bombs planted. And the new surveillance right here, authorities looking at the men wearing backpacks in this elevator. James Longman is on the scene. For the first time tonight, the 911 call revealed. In the case of the 5-year-old missing boy, the dog's only picking up his scent inside the home. And now we hear his father calling 911. Jared Kushner tonight saying Robert Mueller's investigation did more harm to America than the Russian efforts to sway the election. Hillary Clinton on that same stage just moments later. The major news on Joe Biden tonight. The announcement now coming and the first plan right out of the gate. The well-known NBA coach tonight accused of sexually assaulting a former reporter. What she says he did to her. And the stunning rescue tonight, the details just coming in. The missing mom gone for 5 days, discovered trapped in her car. No food, no water, no medicine, and where they found her.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Tuesday night, and we begin tonight with the police body cam just released. After a police shooting led to outrage and protests for days. Officers looking for an armed robbery suspect pulling over this car, ordering the driver to get out with his hands up. The video appears to show the driver getting out, putting his hands up, and then the officers open fire. A passenger in the car was hit. No weapons were found in the car, and what authorities in Connecticut are now saying tonight. ABC's Lindsay Davis leading us off.
Newly released body cam video is providing more clarity tonight in this police-involved shooting in New Haven, Connecticut that's prompted massive protests. Watch again. The driver opens the door. Within seconds, his hands go up and the officers open fire.
Was he ordered to open the door?
There are indications that he was told to open the door, yes. Or come out with his hands up.
A surveillance video obtained by ABC News shows another vantage point, again appearing to show Paul Witherspoon being shot at by police while his hands are in the air.
I thought I was already dead because he pointed it right at me.
Investigators say his girlfriend, 22-year-old Stephanie Washington, who was in the passenger seat, was shot in the torso. Both were unarmed.
We did not find a gun in any locations, so there's no gun found.
Police say this began when a Hamden and Yale police officer were investigating a report of an attempted armed robbery and spotted this red Honda, which allegedly fit the description. The officers involved claim the driver made an abrupt movement and ignored commands, which this video appears to contradict. Outrage has ensued, including hundreds of Yale students calling for the two officers who fired their guns to step down.
And Lindsay Davis with us live tonight. And Lindsay, we know there were two officers that were involved in this. Both fired shots, as you just reported, but only one body cam was actually activated.
Right, David. For some reason, the Yale officer didn't have his body cam or dash cam turned on. The Hamden officer turned his body cam on only seconds before the incident. The police commissioner says that he has many concerns about how this case was handled. An investigation continues by the state's attorney's office. David.
Lindsay Davis leading us off tonight. Lindsay, thank you. The other major headline today comes amid the deadly opioid crisis in this country. Tonight, a former CEO of a major drug distribution company was arrested. Tonight, he is criminally charged. This evening, the images of him in handcuffs here with opioids now killing more Americans than car accidents every year. Here's ABC's Gio Benitez.
Tonight, a former CEO and his company, a major drug distribution company, face federal criminal charges for their alleged role in the deadly U.S. opioid crisis.
Any remorse, sir?
Led in handcuffs today after turning himself in, federal drug agents charged former CEO Lawrence Dowd and Rochester Drug Cooperative with conspiracy. Prosecutors say they ignored red flags and provided narcotics to pharmacies which were filling prescriptions of oxycodone, fentanyl, and other controlled substances to people who did not need them.
It shipped tens of millions of highly addictive oxycodone pills, and fentanyl products to pharmacies that it knew were illegally dispensing narcotics.
The opioid crisis is gripping the nation. According to the National Safety Council, opioids kill more people in America than car accidents.
Why did they do it? The answer is greed.
And David Dowd faces 2 counts of conspiracy. If convicted, the 75-year-old will face a mandatory minimum of 10 years in prison. His lawyer says he will fight the charges. David?
Gio Benitez reporting tonight. Gio, thank you. There is also a major manhunt underway at this hour amid new fears after that horrific and deadly terror attack in Sri Lanka. Are there more bombs that have already been planted? And tonight they say there are terrorists still on the loose. And look at this tonight. Police are now examining this new surveillance. Men wearing backpacks in this elevator in a Western hotel, suspected bombers. The death toll growing tonight, more than 300 now. 45 of the dead are children. ABC's James Longman is in Sri Lanka.
Tonight, soldiers on the streets of Sri Lanka. New fears of bombs planted in cars and motorcycles. The government now warning more terrorists are on the loose.
There are few people on the run, some are on the run.
ISIS now taking responsibility for the Easter attacks, posting this picture of the men they claim were the suicide bombers. Sri Lankan officials do believe the highly sophisticated, coordinated bombings were planned with outside help, perhaps in retaliation for last month's deadly assault on mosques in New Zealand, where 50 worshippers were killed. The FBI assisting in the investigation as police pore over new surveillance images. These pictures broadcast on Sri Lankan TV, 2 men with backpacks in an elevator of the Shangri-La Hotel. Then they walk through its bustling restaurant, where American Matthew Lindsay tells CNN he was meeting his teenage children, Daniel and Amelie.
They had actually went down to the buffet before me and got the food for me and filled up my plate. And then I wanted a little bit more to drink. I was going to get it. My daughter said, no, get it. And then the bomb went off.
The explosions upending chairs, blowing out the windows. Matthew Lindsay's children killed. Outside St. Sebastian's, cameras capture another suspected bomber approaching the church. He weaves through the crowds and along the pews before detonating his explosive.
Actually, it was here that most of people died in a single attack. More than 100 people, in fact.
Just around the corner today, a funeral for a mother and her children. The family invites us in.
These are the bodies of the dead. There are 2 children lying right in front of me here.
The youngest just 7 years old. 45 children killed on Sunday. The death toll now at 321.
Just a devastating scene there in Sri Lanka. James Longman back with us again tonight. And James, authorities there are now searching for other possible bombers we know, and this threat is far from over.
No, definitely not, David. Police are appealing to the public to help find a van, 3 cars and 6 motorcycles, all laden with explosives. Curfews are still in place. Everywhere you go here, security is tight. There's certainly the potential for more attacks here, David.
James Longman with us again tonight. James, thank you. Back here at home into the desperate search for a missing 5-year-old boy. For the first time right here tonight, we hear the father's voice calling 911 to report his son is missing. The mother has stopped cooperating with police as police dogs looking for the boy sent, only finding it in the family's home. Here's ABC's Alex Perez now.
6 days after little AJ friend vanished, we're hearing his family's first call to 911.
We have a missing child.
AJ's father telling police he last saw their 5-year-old son in their Crystal Lake, Illinois home.
When was the last time you seen him? Last night, probably 9:30, when he went to bed. I had a doctor's appointment this morning. When I got back from the doctor's appointment, I checked in on him, say good morning, and he wasn't there.
Andrew Friend also describing where the family searched for AJ.
You know where he might have went? No. We've canvassed the neighborhood, went to the local park, the local gas station down here where we sometimes take him to buy treats. I have no idea where he would be.
For days, investigators have scoured the area for the boy. They do not believe he was abducted and say canines picked up AJ's scent only in the home, not outside. Police calling the home a crime scene.
I just want my kids. That's all that's my life for my kids.
AJ's mother, Joanne, maintains her innocence but is refusing to cooperate with police. Both parents are now trying to regain custody of their younger son after he was taken into protective care following AJ's disappearance. And David, authorities are now asking neighbors to check their home surveillance cameras for any footage that might help investigators figure out what happened to AJ. David?
Alex Perez, thank you. Next to the major new headline tonight in the race for 2020, former Vice President Joe Biden will announce he's running this week in a video Thursday morning. So let's get right to ABC senior national correspondent Terry Moran. And Terry, a lot of speculation surrounding Joe Biden, and for a long time now, it's not been a matter of if, but when.
When he's clearly raring to go, and that Thursday morning announcement declaring he is running. He'll be the 20th candidate in this crowded Democratic field so far. He'll do some media and then his first campaign event on Monday at a Teamsters Hall in Pittsburgh, emphasizing that lunch pail labor union politics that he's always championed. He's the third time that he has been running for president, the first way back in 1987.
Oh, the 20th Democratic candidate, as you point out. And Terry, while we have you, many of the national polls show that Biden's leading among the Democrats running. But look at this snapshot tonight. This is from a key battleground, a New Hampshire poll just out tonight showing Bernie Sanders in the lead, then Joe Biden, then Pete Buttigieg. Did Biden's team sense they really needed to get in and fast?
It was time. They've laid this plan out, but they know in a crowded field he's got to get in. And given his long history, which can be both a plus and a minus, elections are generally about tomorrow. He's got to get in and make his argument that whatever he's done in the past, he can serve this country going forward. David?
The race heating up. Terry Moran tonight, thank you. This evening, the president's son-in-law and top aide Jared Kushner making headlines with some very rare public comments, blasting the Mueller report as more harmful to America than what the Russians did during the 2016 election. And just a short time later, Hillary Clinton was on that same stage. Here's ABC's chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl, tonight.
Jared Kushner today seemed to downplay Russia's meddling in the 2016 election, suggesting investigations into what happened have been more damaging than anything done by the Russians.
You look at what Russia did, buying some Facebook ads to try to sow dissent and do it, and it's a terrible thing. But I think the investigations and all of the speculation that's happened for the last 2 years has had a much harsher impact on our democracy than a couple of Facebook ads.
Russia's actions amounted to much more than buying some Facebook ads. Special counsel Robert Mueller's report called them sweeping and systematic, including spreading disinformation on social media and hacking of the DNC and Clinton team. But today, Kushner suggested the Russian effort didn't amount to much.
Now, if you look at the magnitude of what they did and what they accomplished, I think the ensuing investigations have been way more harmful to our country.
Today, speaking at the same forum, Hillary Clinton, the target of Russia's interference, said their efforts amounted to an attack on democracy. And she was asked about Robert Mueller's other focus, obstruction of justice.
Did Donald Trump obstruct justice as you read the incidences as Mueller lays them out?
Well, I think there's enough there that any other person who had engaged in those acts would certainly have been indicted. But because of the rule in the Justice Department that you can't indict a sitting president, the whole matter of obstruction was very directly sent to the Congress.
John Karl with us live at the White House. John, we know House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was just asked about impeachment a short time ago. She said Congress must first go down the path of fact-finding. Hillary Clinton saying Pelosi is right to be cautious. But John, I know you're also following news developing at this hour on the president's tax returns, the deadline tonight, but the Treasury Department refusing?
Treasury Secretary Mnuchin says that he is questioning the legality of the request, says he first needs to talk to the Department of Justice before saying whether or not he will turn over the president's tax returns. He says he'll give that answer by May 6th. Meanwhile, David, Democrats are weighing their options, including a possible subpoena to force the Treasury Department to turn over the president's tax returns.
All right, John Karl following several developments at the White House. John, thank you. Next here tonight to the well-known NBA basketball coach now accused of sexually assaulting a sports reporter. What she says he did to her. And tonight, the lawyer for former Lakers coach Luke Walton is now speaking out. Here's ABC's Will Carr.
Tonight, high-profile NBA coach Luke Walton is on defense after an allegation of sexual assault. In a civil lawsuit obtained by ABC News, sports broadcaster Kelly Tennant is accusing Walton of assaulting her inside a Santa Monica hotel while he was an assistant coach for the Golden State Warriors. Tennant, who asked Walton to write the foreword for her 2014 book, says she was giving a copy to Walton when he allegedly invited her into his hotel room. The lawsuit claims Walton pinned her on the bed, forcing kisses on her neck, face, and chest, and states Tennant was afraid she was about to be raped. An allegation Walton's attorney flatly denies, calling Tennant an opportunist, not a victim, saying her claim is not credible. The date of the alleged encounter is unclear. Police tell ABC News tonight the alleged assault was never reported to them. Walton, seen here last week with his wife in this TMZ Sports video, is the son of legendary NBA player Bill Walton. He just parted ways with the Lakers to coach the Sacramento Kings.
I'm on a date with my wife. I'm not talking about basketball. No, it's okay.
Tonight, both the Warriors and the Kings say they're looking into the allegations. David.
Will Carr tonight from California. To the Index, the killer sentenced for the death of a jogger here in New York City, Channel Lewis, will spend life in prison without parole for strangling Karina Vetrano. This was the second trial. Lewis telling the court, quote, "I'm sorry for the family's loss, but I did not do this." A partial victory against parking tickets tonight. A federal court in Michigan ruling it is unconstitutional for police to mark your tires with chalk to determine how long your vehicle has been parked. The court calling it an illegal search in Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee. America's newest millionaire tonight, 24-year-old Manuel Franco of Wisconsin, winning the $768 million Powerball jackpot. He said he saw that surveillance camera.
I honestly felt so lucky that I did look up at the camera, and I really wanted to wink at it because I just had that lucky feeling. And
he's taking the lump sum, that's $477 million. When tonight, he did it again. So now the question, is he going to break the bank? He did it again last night. 13 wins in a row.
Unless you've been living under a rock for the past 2 weeks, you know about our current champion, James.
He is a 34-year-old professional sports gambler, James Holzhauer from Las Vegas.
James.
What is Bathin?
Good.
What is Oxidized?
Yes.
What is C.S. Lewis?
Right.
But it's not just the trivia he's got down. It's the math, the science behind betting, wagering big, and going for the high-value clues often first.
All of the chips, please. All in.
You can risk up to 1,000.
The house limit, please.
And then there's the buzzer. He revealed on ESPN, contestants now ask him how he does it.
Some of them, I think, are kind of pressing me for, hey, how do we get so good at the buzzer? You know, and I just don't think there's enough time for them to practice at that point. But, you know, I tried offering them some tips. It might help, it might not.
What are the tips?
Try not to have any extra motion in your pressing. You know, try to look at, they have signal lights around the board that tell you when you can buzz in. Try to wait for the signal lights and then buzz right away. You know, it's not rocket science, just some of us are better at it than others.
The average winner takes home around $20,000 a night. He's averaging $71,000.
James, you had 52,126, and did you come up with the correct response? Dare I ask? Yes. And hi, Zach, Emma, and Lily. Family members or friends?
Friends. I'm running out of family members, so.
Running out of family. And Jeopardy, running out of cash? We'll see. He could break $1 million tonight. As Jeopardy met its match, I'm David Muir. I'll see you right here tomorrow.